Hello and welcome to the TLC Webinar Wednesday series. I am Rhea Stark. My name is not Jamison Reynolds, as you may see on your screen, who is having technical difficulties right now. So I'm taking over here. And thank you again for joining us today. This one is a really special one. If you've all been to our booths at some of our conferences, you may have seen the TAPit, which is a very interesting device, and Richard is here to talk about it today. So let me share a little bit about our webinar description so it's for the record. TLC has partnered with teachsmart.org to provide libraries with access to the TAPit, which stands for a touch accessible platform for interactive technology. It is the first assistive learning center using intended touch to serve each individual's special needs. And TAPit serves a wide range of individual special needs with the following features: intended and multi-touch, accessibility and ADA compliance, safety, versatility, and operating system compatibility. So Richard is here. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, Richard, please go ahead.
Thank you, Rhea. Appreciate that very much. As Rhea said, I'm sales director for TAPit, and we're working closely with TLC to enable TAPit to have more access in the library system. In a moment, we're going to run through really just a brief overview presentation. I'm trying not to do a million PowerPoint slides, and this is really to introduce you. From there, after the presentation, we can set up one-to-one discussions if you require with myself, TLC, and yourselves. But I think before we get started, I think Rhea, you have a couple of polls you wanted to run through. If you want to launch those, and then I'll run through the presentation if that works with you.
Perfect, thanks, Richard. So our first poll for the audience is, do you currently have children or adults with special needs who use your library? So just a quick yes or no there. And then after this poll, we'll have a few others. So we're just kind of going to wait a minute for some of the votes to come in. And I realize now it's using your library may be a little bit different in our pandemic settings, but there's still needs for it there. All right, just one more moment. It looks like the majority is yes, 100%. So good to hear it. All right, our next poll is, do you currently have a solution for your members with special needs or who require wheelchair access to PCs or to TV screens? And the follow-up question to that is, do they work if you do have them? So if you could please answer that, yes, and it works, yes, but looking for better options, or no, currently do not have those solutions. So the votes are coming in now. All right, it looks like we're trending towards yes, but looking for better options. The majority of folks are saying that. 75% are looking for better options, 17% do have them, and they work, and an 8% say no. So let's try one more poll, and then Richard will let you present. So our third poll is going to be, did you know that there is a solution for wheelchair special needs users that allows access to the internet, games, and to learning? So for many of you that do have the options, I think, yes, you do know that there is a solution, but hopefully what Richard can share today can help with those 75% of the audience who said that, yes, they have it, but they're looking for better options. So a few answers are coming in now into the polls. And it looks like it's about a 50-50 split right now. So yes, some people did know, and some people did not know. So Richard, please enlighten us. What have you got for us today?
Fantastic, thank you, Rhea, and thank you all for answering the polls there. I promise that will nearly be the last bit of work we'll ask you to do on this presentation. And just one point, there's section for questions at the end if there's anything that's not clear. But you also have a chat section as well. Feel free to type in the chat, and then Ria and Jameson, if he joins us at the end, if you can join us, will ask those questions to me. So this is very much your presentation. It's very much open to you. If there's something that's not clear at all, feel free to ask, and I'm more than happy at the end to review any things that are outstanding. So without further ado, as I mentioned, really what I'm going to look at first of all is what is TAPit? Why are we presenting it? It's a tried and tested solution that we have. We've been selling this now for over 8 years, and we're on its 6th generation of the unit. Any changes that have happened with the unit over that time are driven by end users. For instance, the very large set of wheels here mean it's easy to move around. We had some feedback with smaller wheels before. We had different feedback on how far it can go up, how far it can drop, which I'll cover in a second as well. But as we go through, really, we talk a lot to end users. We do a lot of white papers and see how it's used. So 6th generation, if we haven't got it right now, we probably never will. So feedback is that it's very right. It's been developed actually by special needs teachers for users that have special needs requirements. It's very different from a standard screen on a stand or a standard general education product. With this, everything on the product, every feature is there for a purpose. Everything has a reason, even to the extent of the reason it's purple. If you don't know if you're on the spectrum, this particular purple, it's actually like a mental hug. It will actually calm you down when you look at this purple. Same reason that Barney the dinosaur, for those that know Barney the dinosaur, was the same purple. There's 2 colors on the spectrum that do that, and we've registered TAPit to have that as a platform to be in that color, which is why I'm normally asked, do we do different colors? And no, we don't. We stay with that purple for a particular reason. We're finding that schools, libraries like yourself, museums, hospitals, rehabilitation centres, they love the TAPit because they know it's very durable, they know it's versatile, and it really opens up a new world to people that couldn't normally use a screen on the wall, couldn't normally use, if you like, an iPad, etc. And I'll show you how that works as we go through. So in its basic form, TAPit is giving access to all the software that's already on the market. It's given access to the internet. It's given access to a lot of different activities that users with special needs don't always have access to. A couple of the key points with TAPit as well, and you'll see some different ways that we set it up on the right-hand side. One of the unique things we have with TAPit is that it has technology that recognizes between if you're resting on the screen or if you're actually using the screen. That in itself is not unique, but what is unique is when you do that, we also have 10 touch points. So if you look up here, on the right hand side, this user is actually leaning on the screen. He needs to support himself there with his hand. It's allowing him to do that, but also allowing him, in this case, I think it was drawing that he was doing there, and he can do multiple touch points as well. That's particularly useful as well down the bottom right hand side here. You see we're leaning on the screen, but there's multiple people using the tablet itself, multiple children, multiple adults can use it. And again, wheelchair users, we find a lot of case where they need to lean as well. And after 2 seconds, it says, actually, you're leaning on me, you're not using me, I'm going to ignore you. We have gesture movement as well, like you would find on your phones or your iPad, where you can swipe websites larger or smaller, or you can swipe in and out of different websites. So it's really what users are used to using elsewhere, or used to seeing being used elsewhere, but it makes it easier for them. Accessibility wise, it will actually go right up to 54 inches height, so great for adult learning as well. We find particularly with senior living as well, we find a lot of our users will need to lean against the screen, as I say, whilst using it, because it will go up to adult height doing that, and it will take 360 pounds leaning on the product without it actually falling over. When the wheels lock, they won't move at all. They can do that, they can support themselves, but also go right the way down down 7.5 inches off the ground. We see the children using it here. We were demonstrating it recently. I say recently, it's when we could go back out, so it's before March, in a library, and we put on story time, dropped it right the way down, and all the children in the library actually just sat down and watched the product and came up and painted with the product as well. So very, very versatile. I'm asked quite often, there's a 43-inch screen on here. One of the questions I get is, can you do a larger screen? And the reason that we don't is if you're in a wheelchair here, if we've got a 60, 90-inch screen, and you try and touch the sides, you actually fall out the wheelchair, or you can't reach the sides at all. So it goes back to, as I said, everything on this product is thought about. It's not a 4K TV that it's showing on, so it's not too bright. It doesn't set off disabilities by being too bright, and we actually dull down the screen with an overlay as well. If you're in a wheelchair here, and you go to a screen that's on the wall, you can't get to it. If you go to a screen that's on a normal stand, you see here we've actually got wheelchair access, and we're following the ADA guidelines. We're ADA compliant, as we'll show you later. So you can actually, if you're in a wheelchair, you can actually come right up to the product and use the product. It will tilt from horizontal to vertical, so you can actually move it to the position that's comfortable for the user. So 90 degrees tilt on there. So again, everything on the product has been thought about. As I touched on before, where ADA compliant, it can move from room to room. The unit itself, this will actually drop in. This is a table at the back for a laptop. That will actually drop down as well, and it can move from area to area within your libraries, room to room, so you can set it up where you need to. There's one plug that you need to plug in, and that's it. So you haven't got multiple wires moving out at all. You've also got a power socket here, where you can plug your laptop in and actually charge the laptop, so you don't need multiple wires coming out from the product itself. One of the things that I'm always asked as well is, great, what software does it come with? What can I use it with? What can I do on the TAPit? The TAPit will run whatever is already being shown on the PC, Windows 10, Vista XP, etc., or on a Mac or on a Chromebook or a laptop, obviously. So you don't need to buy new software. If you're already using software within the library, literally you just plug HDMI cable in and a USB cable, and whatever's on the screen of the laptop or the Mac will actually appear on here. And then this becomes a very large mouse. So that's how to think of it. You don't need any software. We don't supply it with software for the reason that you've already bought software, you've already licensed software, and you may have particular software that you use all the time within your library. If it runs on your PC, it runs on your Mac, it will run on TAPit. No drivers, no changes, no new licenses needed at all. We actually supply it, as you see here, because we've been doing this for the last 8 years. We've actually developed quite a lot of white papers, quite a lot of usage cases, and we've condensed that down to 64-page reference guide, which will show how to use TAPit with different users' unique needs. So if you've got users in wheelchair, you've got users, for instance, that have cerebral palsy, we give some recommendations on the type of software to use, how to use TAPit. It's a really useful guide. It's available from TLC. They can send that to you as well. And it's a great way to have a look when you have different people coming into your library with different abilities, different user needs. It's really just a quick reference guide. We'll also give a recommendation via TLC of different software that we know our end users are using. Some of it's chargeable, some of it's free of charge, some of it's a subscription model. But again, we get a lot of feedback from our users, and we can share that with you. But basically, if it's working on PC or Mac, it will work on TAPit, as I say. One of the things, particularly in a public environment, it needs to be obviously so that it's protected and it's a strong product. We have military grade shatter resistant safety glass on the product. Nothing at all is unbreakable, but in 8 years, I think there's one unit that I've seen broken on the glass. It's actually a gunshot. Can't stop against that, but otherwise the hundreds and thousands of units that we've sold, there has been no breakage on the glass. We can't guarantee it doesn't break, but if it does, then it's shatter resistant glass there. As I say, you can lean your whole body weight against the unit. One of my resellers will actually do the whole demonstration by hanging on the TAPit itself with the feet off the ground. So interesting to see, but again, it's completely well weighted, so it doesn't fall over at all. Moisture sealed. If there's any spillage on the front of the unit, it can happen with different users using this. It's sealed, so nothing will go through the front of the screen. It's not waterproof. The back has power sockets on and has a power lead, so we're not saying you can use it outside in the rain. It's not fully waterproof at the front. The bit that's used, it's sealed, and that means it's easy to clean. And it's something that I've added to the presentation since the current situation we're in with COVID, the current situation of cleaning equipment, particularly touchscreens as well. And I put a little extra page in here for you so that you can use commercially available LCD cleaning kits. We have a lot of TAPits within rehabilitation centres, within hospitals as well, and they can use their commercial or industrial cleaner within the unit, as always sprayed on the cloth, not sprayed onto the unit itself. But because the screen is sealed, no problem doing that at all. It's a metal, the actual stand itself, so absolutely no problem. And even the socket on the side for the laptop has a plastic flap over it, so you can clean there. As I say, it's not fully waterproof, clear, but cleaning absolutely not an issue. And I know that's a sensitive area at the moment, particularly if you've got different people coming in and touching the screen. We recommend that you clean it regularly, and you definitely clean it between usage as well. But that's available with a separate sheet we can send out to you afterwards, because you're no doubt likely to be asked that. Just an idea of the type of places. I mentioned some that we see TAPit in. Public libraries, obviously, United Cerebral Palsy. A lot in children's hospitals. Shriners Hospital is one of the most well-known ones, special needs schools, rehabs, etc. The reason I put that up there is you have a multitude of different ages, abilities coming into your library, and what this does, it opens up the ability to use software to learn, to search the internet. It's something that often a lot of special needs or more senior living or people that need special access to screens, they don't have that opportunity. You have this opportunity, and you can wheel it around within the library to the different areas that you need. We're aware that people are having to use different rooms at the moment. No doubt you're looking at how and when you open your libraries, and how you can actually show things in different rooms, because this will wheel around easily with one hand. You can do that and move it across. And as I say, and on the right is an idea of different users that we see: wheelchair access, Down syndrome, different learning abilities and disabilities that we see TAPit used with. And again, the reference guide's available. At this point, what I thought I'd do is just show you a video here. This video is actually 8 years old now. We show it because we were shooting a marketing video, and you'll see the user here. It's a very brief video, actually really demonstrate the difference that TAPit can make to somebody's life, basically, the difference that it can make to their access to all the information and the learning that's out there. You'll see here Louisa, she's the teacher will talk you through it in a classroom environment, give an idea how she was and the abilities that she had. And we were fortunate enough to record when she first became communicative. So give you a rest from my voice. I'll play this, you should be able to hear it, and I will come back afterwards. Won't be a moment.
Louisa is 4 years old. She has Down syndrome. She is mostly nonverbal. She communicates mostly through sign language, sometimes through pictures. She has a few words that she'll say hi and bye. She started saying no, of course, that's one of their first words. And so with the TAPit, it gives them that auditory model. On that particular program, it kept saying, thank you, and so she verbally imitated, thank you.
No, it is right. That's kind of. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Cute. Like I said, she's mostly nonverbal. I got really excited. That's the first time I've ever heard her say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's just infiltrating her, and it's going in her ears and out her mouth, which is what we want. So she just really enjoys that she can go up there by herself, whereas all the other times she has always had to have adult support. And this has just made her grow in independence. I'm seeing her be independent in other aspects throughout the classroom, but that was the first place where she had independence.
Okay, hopefully that's given you an idea of how the TAPit's been used and the difference it made to Louisa. And I find that I do a lot of end user presentations, a lot of end user shows, and the amount of people that come out and say, yeah, the access it gives really does make a difference. So what we're trying to do, we have previously really been focusing on schools, but we know the library environment is a great environment to give this opportunity, which is why we want to work with TLC and yourselves to enable that to happen. Now, one of the things with the unit itself, you'll really see the difference when you see people use it. And it's why I used to travel all the time doing this, and hopefully I will be able to again. We have a couple of different programs that we've pulled together with TLC to help you see if the unit actually works within your library space. First one that we can do, and let's say we're in the current COVID, this it's changed a little at the moment, so there are travel restrictions when they're released. We'll be go back to this program, but obviously this program is ongoing. So for pre-qualified, and pre-qualified is just really I'll speak to you with TLC and we'll look at what you're looking to achieve with TAPit. We'll have a look at future funding. Is it available? There's no commitment here at all. We're not asking you to raise an order. We just want to make sure that funding is there and available if you decide that the product is what we say it is. So we'll have a brief conversation. If there's any more you need to know about TAPit, I can run through, and then we'll deliver the unit to you. And do a demonstration. It's worthwhile making sure that you have stakeholders and budget holders in the library at the time. And again, if there's special need users, it would be great to invite them in, and some parents, teachers, etc., so that they can actually see the TAPit in use, and we'll demonstrate that for you. That's a free of charge service. So once we've done the pre-qualified call, we don't charge you to ship in, we don't charge you to ship out, or excuse me, or our time at all. That is all free. The other thing that is really useful as well, we discussed with TLC and they've requested, and we're quite happy to support this. We do a 30 to 60 day trial program. We'll actually deliver it to your library if we can. We'll visit on the day of delivery as well. If not, we can talk you through how to use it depending on travel arrangements and travel restrictions, and we'll leave it there. We'll leave it there for 30 to 60 days. Again, completely free of charge for you. We encourage you to use it every day. Use it, make sure that it's usable within the library, make sure end user you're using as well. You'll see how tough it is, you'll see how versatile it is, and how easy it is to actually use. The reason we do that is historically 85% of people then actually say, yeah, we want at least one of these units. The reason we get that kind of take up and that kind of feedback and usage is once people see it and you see it in place, you really get to understand the difference it can make, and you really get to understand how it can work if you have any of the makerspace areas. It can work with there, it can work with obviously a 3D printer if you need it to, because it's just working through a laptop or Mac. So coming back to the case of whatever you're already doing on your PCs or your Macs within the libraries, yeah, it can actually do that. So we're very, very keen. These units aren't light to transport around the country, as you can imagine, but we will cover all those costs because we know you'll want the product when we deliver it there. Again, we'll do a pre-qualified call, but it's something that we would encourage for you to talk to TLC and arrange that with them, because it really does make a difference. And I think probably at that point, Ria, I think, is there one more poll that you want to introduce at this point, and then we'll maybe open up for questions afterwards?
Yes, perfect. Thank you, Richard. So our final question is really to kind of survey the audience to see if after hearing this presentation, if you want someone from the TLC staff to reach out to you in order to do a personalized TAPit virtual demo for your library or your school system, please let us know here. We do go through these after the webinar, and we do reach out. And so it's just kind of a great opportunity to let us know to make that call. And while those results are coming in, Richard, I will share that, I have seen that video so many times with Louisa, and every single time I get goosebumps when she says thank you. It's so heartwarming to see that kind of impact and that interaction happen. So
Yeah, no,
um,
thank you. I agree. I'm the same. I've been doing this for years now, and so we were fortunate enough to catch that moment, and to as the teacher says as well, that was the first time they knew that she could comprehend, she can understand, she can communicate. She's doing really well now. As I say, that was 8 years ago. She's doing really, really well, but that was the first time. And later on in the video, I just did a short bit there. You'll see where she's playing with other students as well on the screen, identifying turkeys, reading about turkeys, etc. And yeah, no, it's really nice to have a product like this that makes that kind of difference. But thanks, Ria, I appreciate that.
yeah, absolutely. And so we are still just going to leave this poll open just to give the most amount of people the ability to say yes. If not, of course, you're always welcome to reach out to us at info@tlcdelivers.com if you don't get a chance to submit via the poll here. So while we leave this poll up, let's go and answer some questions. So if you had any questions that came up that you'd like addressed now, please go ahead and submit them into the questions panel. And while we wait for those questions to come up, Richard, can you share a little bit more about some of the stories that you've seen? So I know that we talked about Louisa, and just from standing next to you in the conference hall, I can attest to the fact that this is military grade glass. Would you maybe share that story with our audience here?
Yeah, certainly. We one of the demonstrations that I do, if you have seen it at any of the trade shows, and I do with end users as well, I offer people to bang on the screen, see if they can actually damage the screen at all, and everybody always touches it very gently. So I have actually a fridge magnet, or fridge magnet, which spinner, which actually will smash against the screen. It's a really great way of showing people that it won't break at all, and it does stop and actually gets people interested as well. But I think really what we're trying to get across is that we understand that where it's going to, particularly in a library, it is very much a public space. The public do not respect touchscreens. We know that. So it's designed to be the case that people can bang things against it. We do have people that will knock against it, will maybe wearing different protections around their head and bang against the screen as well. And it's designed to take that. As I say, nothing is unbreakable, but it is designed to take that, and it will take that kind of abuse, for want of a better word. You'll also notice as well with the pictures that are up at the moment that's got a lot of purple around the screen as well. The ones that you saw earlier have less purple around the screen, and that's really feedback from end users as well, where we were asked to make it look more like an inverted commas standard screen, so that people didn't feel that it was a special product because they had special needs. Users look at it as a standard screen and use it as such, but it's one of the beauties that you can have multiple people using it at once. It's not everybody looking at one person using the product, so that we find makes a big difference. It helps the users relax. It helps the users actually then go off and operate the product, maybe do some drawing for the first time. And I remember when I was at the last PLA where really we had a little boy that was with us, I think, for 2.5 hours, wasn't it, in the end, Ria, where in the end we had to say, yeah, we really need to move on there. He loved the product. It's the first time I could sit down and use it as well. So it's refreshing to see that, and you don't have to use any new software or learn any new software. It's whatever you're already using or whatever you find on the internet. So at that point, Ria, is there any questions that I need to address at all?
Yeah, we did have one question come in. Will it work if the student is wearing a glove? Great question for this day and age.
Absolutely great question. I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to qualify the yes. Yes, it will, because of the type of touch panel that it is and because of the sensitivity on the touch panel, but there is a limit on the thickness of the glove. So if we're looking at a glove because it's protecting with the current COVID situation, it's a standard latex glove, for instance, yeah, that will work without a problem at all. If we're looking very thick, and I'm thinking skiing gloves, etc., no, it won't pick it up. It won't feel the sensitivity there. It's actually done by pressure on the screen rather than connectivity. We had a previous version that would actually look at the way it would connect with different areas on the screen, and now we've done it with sensitivity, which is why you can lean on it and it touches the lean and then says, okay, after 2 seconds you're not moving, so I'll move on. So a qualified yes. After this particular presentation, if we want to speak direct and give me an idea of more details, then I can answer that fully. Or again, that's why we have demonstration programs, because we can send it out and you can try it. So qualified, yes, but very happy to have a one-on-one conversation after the presentation, next couple of days, etc. And I can qualify that more. Hopefully that answers your question.
Perfect. Thank you, Richard. And it does look like we are right at about the half-hour mark right now. So if we did not get to your question, please feel free to reach out. Again, that's info@tlcdelivers.com. And if you are watching our webinar series, we're going to be taking just a short break next week as we go into our Labor Day weekend, and then we will be back the following week with some exciting updates for our newest release for our library.solution software products. So please be sure to watch for that. The registration link will be up either today or tomorrow on tlcdelivers.com/webinars. And of course, this was recorded and that will be available at the same place as well. So thank you so much, Richard, for your time today, and we will look forward to talking with you further.
Thanks everybody for your time.